My thoughts raced with incredible speed. I felt connected to everything around me, as though I had become one with the world itself. At one point, I realized I had a choice, to cross over or to remain, so I chose to stay, believing it was too soon for me to die. Welcome to Let's Lift the Veil. On September 10, 1975, a man fell 30 feet from a rooftop. His body was severely burned, his skull fractured, and yet, what happened next defies all logic. For an entire week, he experienced something extraordinary: an out-of-body state, heightened awareness, and the undeniable feeling that he had a choice, to die or to return. This is a powerful testimony of a near-death experience. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Leave a like if this testimony resonates with you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to share with you an experience that forever changed my life. It all began on September 10, 1975. That day, I was working as a plumber on a rooftop, about 30 feet above the ground. In a sudden accident, I slipped and fell. When I hit the street below, my body landed on a cauldron of boiling tar. The burning liquid spilled over me, covering much of my body with severe burns. Oddly enough, I remained conscious but felt no pain, only a strange, overwhelming warmth, because everything seemed surreal, and I have no memory of the ambulance ride. My next clear awareness was in the hospital, surrounded by chaos. Doctors rushed to treat me, convinced I was suffering unbearable agony, and injected me with morphine. Yet, I was no longer inside my body. I vividly remember my first out-of-body experience. I floated above the table, watching, as the doctors wrapped my body in a kind of net, like a sausage. I remember quite well that they called the hospital in Beverwijk, we're in the Netherlands, which specializes in burn treatment, asking for advice. The specialist in major burns, Dr. Hermans, sent an assistant with a quantity of wrappings and flamazine, an ointment used to treat burns. When Dr. Hermans' assistant suddenly arrived with the burn treatments, he exploded in anger at the others. Their rough attempts to tear off my tar-stuck shirt had also ripped my skin. From my vantage point, outside of my body, I witnessed all of this with calm detachment, almost amused at the absurdity. I was then taken to intensive care, placed inside a sterile glass room, and for an entire week, they kept me in an artificial coma with heavy doses of morphine. My parents were told I had been unconscious the whole time. And yet, I remembered everything. From within that glass chamber, I saw my parents' visits. I saw my father so distraught that he vomited at the sight of me, and my mother, overwhelmed with grief and unable to stop crying. A nurse often sat beside me whenever she found the time. I somehow knew she was studying to be a surgical assistant. I could see her books, her progress, even the details of what she was reading. At times, I knew exactly which patient was receiving which medication, and when, because I could read the fine print on medicine labels from across the ward, as if my senses had been heightened beyond imagination. My thoughts raced with incredible speed. I felt connected to everything around me, as though I had become one with the world itself. At one point, I realized I had a choice, to cross over or to remain, so I chose to stay, believing it was too soon for me to die. When the morphine doses decreased, the pain returned violently. The burns, the scars, and the intense migraines haunted me for years. At night, I had recurring nightmares of the fall, the boiling tar, and the frantic rescue. It was as if the trauma was engraved not only in my body, but in my soul. My life, behind the veil. This near-death experience transformed the way I see existence. Before, I had no strong religious or spiritual beliefs. But afterward, I became convinced that there is much more beyond this earthly life. I now believe we do not live just once, but several times, perhaps within a greater cycle of existence. I never deliberately tried to develop spiritual abilities, yet clairvoyant people told me I had gained a gift, and sometimes I feel it too, moments of intuition or a sense of unseen presence. The most striking occurred when my father passed away in 2004. Despite years of silence between us, he appeared to me after his death, assuring me that everything was fine. He came back several times, leaving me with a deep sense of peace and reconciliation. Talking about my experience has never been easy. In the hospital, I was met with disbelief. When I told the nurse what she was studying for and how far she had progressed, she was incredulous. Afterwards, I never saw her again. She avoided me as if I were some sort of pariah. Another nurse I told of the medication patients were getting, and she also reacted very strangely. After this, I did not mention it again. Later, when I shared it with my girlfriend, who later became my wife, she was skeptical at first but eventually fascinated. Even now many people doubt my story, but I know in my heart it was real. Decades have passed, and yet the memory still shapes my life. Beyond the veil of suffering and survival, I discovered a greater truth, that life continues, that we are part of something far more vast than we can imagine. And though I carry scars, both visible and invisible, they no longer weigh me down. Instead, they remind me of the gift I was given, the chance to return, to live, and to understand that there is more to this existence than meets the eye. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. This near-death experience testimony comes to an end. Beyond pain and suffering, it reminds us that there is something greater behind the veil. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like to help us share more of these powerful testimonies. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more moving stories. And most importantly, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Your words may bring light to someone else's journey. Please take care of yourself and your loved ones. See you soon for another journey behind the veil.